Welcome to one of the most unreasonable videos that I've ever made. With 80 players jammed into a single map, with the unit limit set at 32,000, the circumstances and the name of the game itself are both beyond all reason. It's made by volunteers, free to play, but it will cost you a whole chunk of your free time and probably more of your sanity. So if you have either of those, before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button. Maybe even subscribe. Help me out of the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? Jimmy. 1,035 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Then the 9 commanders jammed into the center of the Raptor crater. Now, they have a 60% income boost, making those metal extractors, those wind turbines, those fusion reactors more effective, allowing them to slap together more economy and more units at an incredibly rapid pace. But that property and that privilege comes at a price, as 71 commanders are arrayed against them around the outside. And in just 1 minute, the 10-minute mark, as we skipped a little forward, the lava will recede, and there'll be nothing between them and the enemy. Now, a few little restrictions and requirements. Aircraft are disabled. Nuclear missiles, long-range plasma cannons, anything that keeps you from getting into shouting distance of your enemy is not allowed and has been barred from the match. Just a full-on brawl. Sure, you can have long-range artillery units, you can have artillery cannons, some laser towers of varying varieties. But it's all about the ground pounders. And, you know, quantity has a quality all its own. And that's why I beg you to like and subscribe. But will the position and the coordination of the insiders be able to overcome the peasants, the outsiders? Or will they be overrun? Most of these matches end very quickly after the moat recedes. Though it's a bit of a spoiler, considering you're watching this one. I think it's unlikely. And we see the armies massing from the outsiders. Hot Potato, Small, Lloyd in the fringe, ready to move into the southeast. It looks like Maxi has actually created a funnel just for them. The lava recedes, and the drama begins. And actually, the southeast and eastern front, the only area that the outsiders have decided to press forward. They will climb the hill, but the funnel working perfectly. Multiple twin guard laser turrets, very good. And even a tier 2 battery is ready for them. Some more tier 1 tanks moving in. The Armada and Cortex working together on either side. Because it's not about whether you're Armada or Cortex, but about whether you're red or blue. And so far, a lot of those units being thinned out. A bunch of Wolverine artillery just scattering the field, and it doesn't matter if they miss their target. There's plenty more. Some of the pawns making their way through. A whole bunch of tanks rolling down. Invisible troll looking very visible to me, but maybe the trolling was real meta. A single pawn after that entire push. A couple hundred units of the 7,600 currently on the field. Oh, some commanders going down. Eat! The entire army came back for that one pawn. Some Centurions moving forward. Great against weaker tier 1 units. But the tanks don't really fall into that category. So the initial push from the southeast looks to have been stuffed at the door. But Lloyd is moving in, getting dangerously close, gets detected, should be taken out. But he's being chased down. A few ticks are caught in the explosion on the way by. Support as soon as possible. Nobody wants to play support, but everybody wants to win. But reinforcements are coming in. Remarkably quiet. Well, it's all quiet on the Western Front, at least so far. A few Sheldon mobile mortar bots coming in. But I think at this time it's important to note the map is dark and full of ticks. As vision, the physical vision, the ability to see where the enemy is a limiting factor much of the time and beyond all reason. There's no easy way to get, especially without aircraft. There's a limited radar and even more limited line of sight. So without a huge amount of view, oh no, the ticks have broken through. The fastest and most aptly named unit in the game. And the economy is incredibly vulnerable. The construction turrets actually repairing one another, but once one goes down, the rest. You're trying to eat them, but some of the energy converters, also vulnerable targets, will easily be taken down. Got him! And the construction turrets almost chains into the advanced fusion reactors. But thankfully, the splash damage isn't quite that overwhelming. Overall, though, the Outsiders have made some progress, and you can see in the top right corner, we got all our fancy statisticals up there. The metal per second, the energy per second, build power, which is the ability to take those first two things and put them into more useful things. But the ones I think are most useful, besides energy per second, which is consistent, is metal produced and then energy produced, which gives you an indicator on how many resources the teams have been able to use so far. And then army value, defense value, economy value, and just overall damage. And so far, the Insiders have managed to do way more damage, which makes sense considering their incredibly good position. They have over double the resources invested in defense. But the Outsiders, by sheer quantity of players and position, have had way more resources to work with. The thing is, though, those resources have been spread between all the players. Another huge... Oh! How many ticks on the screen right now? Take a guess. 2 seconds. 330! Correct! Great job. That number dwindling rapidly. But is it rapidly enough? The disintegration gun! It one-shots every unit it can touch, besides other commanders. Unfortunately, the ticks... A demon! A demon! A tier 3 demon incinerating all of the ticks! The demon does 112 kills in 1/100th of that many seconds. That math checks out, right? But the demon flamethrower mech, the Cortex tier 3, is already online and incinerates the entirety of the push. But the ticks are still streaming through. We have more pawns and ticks from the Armada with welders behind. The battery's being overwhelmed, outflanked, and there's simply not enough here to deal with it. The demon's holding the right. And over to the west, still very quiet, but some Vanguards, all-terrain, heavy plasma cannon. And by all-terrain, that means they can climb the hills, and a sheer cliff is no object. The only thing they can't do is swim, but thankfully there's no water here. Meanwhile, the Outsiders have actually pushed in. They've crested the hill and are actually building production. Meanwhile, a counter-tank push with some of the stouts in the Valley of Death directly to the west, but a single commander in position to help deal with it. But Tetris Face kind of ignoring the situation. No D-guns coming out. The commander explosion will do a lot, but a bit of a missed opportunity there. And so far, the Outsiders making a lot of progress. The Vanguard's holding the line. Let's take a look at the northeast. Pretty quiet. Some tremor tanks scattering artillery shots over to the north, but the real potential damage is to the south. As we see, trying to climb the hills and find a bush, and the sheer terrain drop-off. And every bomb, every bullet, even every laser is affected by terrain and range. Lasers drop off and damage. Projectile accuracy is very relevant. Units can fire further and will attempt to if they have the high ground in order to use the gravity in order to extend their range. But the insurgency from the south is slowly but surely being collapsed upon. Though the energy production for the Outsiders is still significantly higher, they're just not able to bring it to bear because most of that energy production is with the Factorio players on the back line who would scoff at the idea of building a unit for the next 15 minutes. But so far, another... Oh, the grunts are moving in. Another legion of grunts. Replacing the legion that we don't have here today, unfortunately. But with a flamethrower over the top. And there's no such thing as friendly fire. The grunts are also being incinerated by the Cortex demon. But it seems like net progress is being made. Small, trying to make some big plays. But we'll see if he ends up being a Shakespeare by the end. Indeed! Knocks out the demon and survives to tell the tale. The gamer is taken down. One of the Outsiders again. 6 commanders remain. versus 52. Maybe I should have mentioned, and beyond all reason, we're playing team deathmatch, effectively. Whichever team has at least one commander left wins the game. The circumstances, the methodology, the strategy to get there is obviously relevant. But at the end of the day, and in the end, that's all that matters. A pulsar out in front, another big tick push, but the scattered defense in incredible depth. Some mammoth tanks, great for taking out mid-tier T1 units with their very rapid-firing lasers, but the sheer picket line of turrets is more than enough to drive it back for now. Some ticks making their way through, literal walls coming up, not usually very useful, but anything to funnel the units. The southern front, and now, well, Platinum Blonde moving in, but either side, it seems a bit more of a jousting match. The Tremors trying their best, but the real action is still happening to the southeast. We have those sharpshooters lining up their shots, though being detected. That's what the indicator there is. Be detected by the countermeasures. The intrusion countermeasures. That get overlooked a lot, actually. But so far, obviously spotted. And that will help them get maybe some targeting. Meanwhile, it looks like the Vanguards are firing over the top into the bases of everyone along the southwest front. But again, the wall has been built. They know the commanders aren't sending their best. They're sending their ticks, their sharpshooters. Can't manually aim with the delay. Need vision. The demons are trying to come forward. Another one is cut down. The sharpshooters are great at taking down those tier 3 units. When they have a big target, like a demon, or even better, a behemoth or your mother, they're easily able to focus their fire. But they cost a lot, and they're incredibly fragile. So, as long as you get a bead on them... Wait, what? The ticks are just... What is this? The wall extends into the crater, but the ticks are still somehow finding their way by. We've got another push up to the north side. Fat Boys, a commander is taken down, and then there were 5. The Insiders, and barely half the commander. Help! Help! I'm being repressed! I've fallen and I can't get up! Not even to be resurrected or reclaimed, and the mammoths are pushing forward. Kill the construction turrets. The targeting. Oh, arbiters. Trying to negotiate a better angle for the team. Just blasting through the experimental gantry being shaken around by the missiles landing. Construction turrets trying to keep it together. I don't know if there's enough to stop this. Meanwhile, another push to the south. And the Insiders beset pretty much on all sides. Unable to push back despite their technological prowess and their quickly evening economy. They've almost got as much energy with the efforts of Watch Behind. Clearly watching behind at his SimCity build, putting the power grid in the literal sense together. There's more commanders to the south. Still, the sharpshooters pushing through. What's happening to the north? Baby nuke. The only nuke we're allowing here is pushing through with the Cortex Tier 2. The Sheldons, missiles landing throughout. But if they're able to break through on one quadrant of the map, they might be able to roll all the way around. Once again, the outside. Meanwhile, the Tick's trying to break through again. Still not... Oh my god! Able to slip around the edges of the wall, but overall, still not enough. The turrets have been put together. We have just... The lines of defense are continuing to be drawn and redrawn as many of them get incinerated and many others are pushed forward. Over to the north side, still a huge array. Catapults, long-range rockets just scattered throughout the field, drizzled down, and oh my. Oh, sweet mother of mercy. The Sheldon push is continuing forward. There's been a breach. The Insiders have broken through. And Baby Nuke is threatening the economy in the northwestern quadrant. And Platinum Blonde putting some real effort in as well. The Vanguard's backing up constant swaths of pawns. And the reason you send out those Tier 1 units early is to maintain vision and draw artillery fire. Because the vast majority of players are either unable or unwilling to manually target more valuable units, sending in those smaller units consistently gives your units cover in order to potentially get more valuable options and just generally muck things up, which is honestly a real tactic. Meanwhile, the demons with a line of fire turrets in and of themselves, incinerating anything that gets close. And you can see from this angle, looking down on the peasants to the outside. In fact, the demons are moving forward, just burninating across the countryside. We still see progress being made to the north. I need like 17 cameras to be able to keep track of everything, but we only have the one for now. Demons. They're stalling out a bit. Homer coming in, trying to snipe them off, but just gets caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, the Vanguards have just kind of climbed the hill and are blasting their way down. Everything, their range extends to the very edge of the map. Meanwhile, Thundergits does not survive the wall. Into the south, the demons are breaking through a series of mines in position, and Thule will sacrifice himself, knocks out 1, 2, 3 demons. And that'll be the end of it. Stalls the push a bit. He was handed another commander by his ally, and actually a few more seconds bought by multiple commanders. 42 commanders for the outsiders, who are now holding strong and actually pushing back. The tendrils of units extending to the northwest, the west, the southwest, and the due south. The demons incinerating the defenses. The ticks mitigating the mines. The marauders mangling the momentum. The vanguards advancing through. And the Sheldons shellacking the defenses to the north, but pushing back a line of Banisher missile tanks, great for taking out those tier 2 options. They do solid damage at medium range. What's not to love? And they can fire very well with great accuracy while moving. And meanwhile, the insiders still pushing back, the vanguards. That kind of porthole of defense. Porthole? A Juggernaut! How did I miss that? There's so much going on. The largest, arguably compared to the behemoth unit in the game. Though, a bit of a liability, because when the Juggernaut dies, it's like a nuke in and of itself. It's just one you have to walk forward, especially if you're able to self-destruct it. Now, the mammoths are clearing out the ticks as they move in. We see the gravestones of commanders past, just scattered throughout the field, and when you start looking at it, it's a war zone. Meanwhile, the demons have just completely incinerated about half of the southern side of the map. Platinum Blonde is moving up. Rye-Flake trying to retreat. Units being pumped out by the high ground corners. We saw the bleeding, metaphorically, of course, stopped to the northwest, but I'm not sure the southwest has a chance to stop it now. In fact, the energy lead has flipped to the insiders, as Watch Behind has completed an incredible power grid. With how many advanced fusion reactors on the screen right now? Well, there's different varieties, the Cortex. We got 29 at about 3,000 energy apiece for the Cortex version, and then 24 of the Armada. The insiders have broken out. I'm telling you right now, so the percentage win for the insiders on these sort of games. By the way, I meant to mention it earlier, but the action picked up pretty early. This is from All Reason, No Logic's Sunday King of the Hill, where anyone can participate. You might even be able to be a king, though most people don't volunteer for it. The percentage the insiders, the kings win, is maybe low double digits. The fact they've broken out and broken through has put their chances of winning drastically higher than they've been at... Oh, no. They slipped through! There was a fusion reactor dangerously close for some reason. And knocks out a lot of the frontline defenses, leaving the Juggernaut somewhat exposed. And they can only strap so many guns to those arms. though. They're putting him all there and on the front line. And in fact, he doesn't have the energy. You can see the energy indicator. He can't reliably shoot. Even the Juggernaut struggling. Has to rebuild. Maybe needs to be shared energy from the macro players behind. But now, with the defenses thinned out so dramatically, the ticks are starting to make more progress. The Arbiter missile bots are launching from long range. And real progress is being made. The Vanguards jammed into the hills where they're actually protected in the trenches from the Juggernauts. Kind of terrifying to have those Juggernauts up there. But still the best angle to potentially fight them without being annihilated. Oh no! It's a disaster! The chain reaction, it carves a new crater in the Raptor crater. Multiple Juggernauts going down. And each explosion damaging their fellow Juggernauts. And that's why social distancing is so important. And that's why I spend my day yelling at video games. Like and subscribe to perpetuate my habit. But the South and the Southwest and the entire Western Front have been cleared out. The Insiders have just rolled them up and are setting their sights on the corner quadrants. Some defenses coming together with the last dregs. The survivors isolated in the corner. But it's just a matter of time now. Still, though, that push through, the push is actually making a lot of progress. Oh, no. Oh, no. The grunts are making their way through. The walls are holding, but there's almost no defenses. The missiles are pressing through. The pulsar only fires once every few seconds. Hundreds of units. Some more light laser turrets starting to mitigate the momentum, but wait! The missile bot, the orbiters! And there go the energy converters. But the fusion still stand. Oh no. We cannot get out. They are coming. The fusion reactors. Shot this! Oh no! The tanks are inside the base! The fusions are vulnerable! And there it goes! It's a disaster! Looking like they had such a hope and such a dream and such a great chance of victory. The Insiders, the overwhelming majority of their economy, exploderated with a single concerted push. Though, because they've already done so much damage and cleared out a solid 1/3 to 1/2 of the bases of the Outsiders, that means the deficit... Oh my, the crater is... Oh. There's a metal extractor down there, a metal point. The Juggernauts are desperately trying to put out a wide stance and cover the now incredibly weak defenses. Platinum, Blonde, and Baby Nuke combining to wipe out the northwest corner. And we've got quite a game on our hands because now clearly the Insiders are expanding over to the west. The power grid is still together. It's just not nearly as overwhelming as it was. If they had lost this last block of fusion reactors, so you might be like, why put them all together? Well, one, usually games are not this massive. So usually you have a little bit more space to spread them out. But two, construction turrets and build power. Each of these fusion reactors and energy converters is a massive investment of both time and resources. And without the construction turrets, in order to concentrate those resources, it makes it incredibly inefficient. So, it's an opportunity cost. Either you try to spread out your fusion reactors in order to minimize the risk, or you put them all together to maximize the reward. And it's simply not plausible to spread them out, especially in this sort of scenario. You're just gambling that you can defend and prevent those sort of breaches. Unfortunately, not every gamble pays off. But so far, in a remarkably unique scenario, they've lost most of their base. But actually not the game. The army value of the Insiders far outstrips that of the outside, but the sheer amount of units We can actually see if I go to the player view. Only 2,400 units. That includes buildings for the insiders. That puts the rest of the 9,000 for the outside. Now streaming through. The Juggernaut's trying to hold. We've seen multiple Juggernaut explosions. A mixed bag of defense. Still, the Titan's trying to hold on either side for the Armada. A more manageable unit. Not quite the firepower of the Juggernaut, but more speed and arguable, we'll call it agility. Another Juggernaut. A few more where that came from. But the constant waves, the legions of the outside, lowercase, are continuing. We have all the arbiters in travel mode in order to move more quickly. Actually, I don't think they move more quickly. It just is a different animation. But the constant resurrection and reclaim bots, both grabbing the metal and repairing as much as they can. The tier 3 on either side, the Vanguard's exchanging fire. Trying to take the Juggernaut down by the ankles and doing terrible, terrible damage in the process. Some Titans boxing out, but more Titans for the insiders. And most of the progress has been stalled. Thule! Still holding. Trying not to lose his commander. I'm not sure why he's not D-gunning, but Thule with multiple commanders to his name. Or his name with multiple command. No, the first thing was right. The tide has been stemmed. The bleeding has been stopped. But is it a reprieve or a revolution? The Juggernauts continue to stomp over the fields. The Razorbacks just slicing through with those rapid-fire laser cannons. Super high DPS, relatively little survivability. And the economy is fully online. The energy production is still in favor of the outside. Not by much. The production has continued, just expanded over to the west side. Just a full overview once again. What a game. Oh no. The Vanguard. You can see it over the valley. The great push of death. The insiders. With approximately one metric fuck ton of Vanguards. I like Vanguard. 39! 39 Armada Vanguards. Blasting their way through. Striking anything in the entire county. A few catapults from the Cortex as well, scattered in for a bit more variety. We still see the push to the south, but it appears Rosie is coming in, overwhelming the Vanguards of the Outsiders. The Pawns leading the charge, the Razorbacks and Titans behind. A full Armada push will take down the Armada defenses, and the Vanguards persist to the north. It's a matter of quantity and quality. A single Juggernaut day number 7. They still don't know I'm one of... We know you're a Juggernaut, Bob! Day number 8. My self-esteem is hit an all-time low. Shut up, Bob, and please don't stand next to us. Nobody loves me. I didn't... Oh, sorry. I, lagged out for... And now watch behind is just re-expanding to the top left corner, the northwest. Baby Nuke with his commander leading the charge of the Vanguards. Quite dramatic. Always leads from the front. Not exactly the ideal move. Somehow, the Insiders are back up to 8 commanders. Almost the amount they started the game with. They've reclaimed out throughout the field. You can resurrect any wreckage that hasn't been fully reclaimed, and that very much includes commanders themselves. But the battle lines are still being pushed. The Razorbacks by the dozen, completely overrunning those tier 1 units. Oh no, it's a massacre. As struggling to even bring their guns around to deal with this. What little good it would do. The real difficulty is the Razorbacks finding a firing angle with so many of them standing behind one another. The Vanguards with no such issue able to fire off those high trajectory plasma shots. And the Insiders have taken a significant lead when it comes to the map control, the map position. And it looks like they might be able to translate it, potentially, into a victory. If they can roll up one more quadrant. The Juggernaut, again, leading. The Vanguards, so close. They spotted the fusion reactors. They retarget. Down goes the Jug. But there's a plasma shot. And there go the reactors. This is pretty much just a reactor reaction video. All right. The bases getting neutralized by so much firepower. At once, I think we capped out around 14,000 units, but then the West fell. And without it, the Vanguards continue to build a bubble here. I don't think a bubble will save you. A single shield generator is nothing. They can fire. They don't need to see it to know that there's something there, but the Juggernaut. You don't know exactly what's back there, but you can make some pretty strong assumptions. Honestly, the battle for the Southeast has perpetuated. In fact, the Outsiders they still have a foothold. The Vanguard, of course, can put their feet wherever they'd like. But find out more on my Drone fans. Now sponsored by Legion. More Juggernauts going down. 9, they're finally returned from whence they came. There and back again. The Insiders with 9 commanders. After 30 more minutes. The Vanguard's pressing through. There's a rack of fusion reactors. 600 kills. Oh yeah, if you select them all. A total of 500 kills. Let me select a few more. On the Vanguards in total. I'd love to know what the Juggernauts have. 335. The Vanguards. Well, throughout the field right now, all the Vanguards combined at 1,500. We're gonna see some lights up to the north side soon, as the Vanguards get a direct hit on those fusion reactors. We're actually pushing back to the south. Quite impressive. There we are. There goes the neighborhood. The wreckage scattered throughout the field. Titans and Razorbacks and Juggernauts, everything else gets reclaimed almost instantly. And wait, it was close. The Insiders now have 10 commanders, reclaiming some from the scattered and salvaged battlefields. And I think... Oh wait, whoa! A Titan actually made it. Almost to the inner sanctum, which has never really been rebuilt. You still see... Oh, they actually terraformed a bit in order to bring the terrain back. But this massive push, and that's the risk, even though you have the attack from all sides. It was the push of Platinum Blonde and Baby Nuke, which obliterated the northwestern quadrant, rolling slowly but surely around the north, and now has made it all the way around. Put a timer on everything else. The Vanguard's coming out. Since plasma cannons and nuclear missiles are disabled, the Vanguard is the closest thing. A mobile plasma cannon. I believe it has the longest range of any unit the players were able to create. And clearly, making it quite a premium choice. Still, some credit to the Southeast trying its best throughout the entirety of the game. Still with a foothold, still threatening to break through, but at the same time, the Insiders holding strong. The breakthrough was not to the Southeast, but instead to the Northeast, after getting a few key snipes and thinning out the defenses. And of course, the breakthrough was the entire Western Front, but when it came to attacking in, some Thors mixed in. Down goes another round of fusion reactors. And now the energy lead has been reclaimed for the last time by the Insiders. They're now too big to fail. It's all over but the explosions. Which means I have plenty of time to mention. If you want to participate in one of these games, you don't have to just wait for the Sunday morning. With all reason, no logic. You can check out the YouTube channel or their Discord as well. But the 70,000 Discord member event, including the first pieces of Beyond All Reason lore. Yes, there's lore apparently. Who knew? Well, apparently we'll all know. On March 8th of 2026, if you're watching this when I have 10 million subscribers in 2027, and we're hosting 500 player games. But on March 8th, I believe running pretty much the entire day, will be the special event. So make sure to join the bar Discord, is where most of the coordination happens. There's some announcements in-game as well, but if you want to get in on the action, possibly be featured, or be run over by someone who ends up featured, oh, that would be the time to do it. As it's all over, but the last spiteful couple commanders who will probably hide in the corner and wait for the end times. The Outsiders able to break through multiple angles, and honestly, almost every time when you lose that core of fusion reactors, the game is over. But what do we say? Not today. At least not this game. There it goes. The last commanders taken down. The Insiders are victorious.
So that's how it ends.
Platinum Blonde coming out is by far the greatest contributor. Getting, I think it didn't quite get the golden count, but with 75,000. Wait, does that say 150? 70,000+ units lost. Hundreds of millions of energy. Okay, dozens of millions of energy produced. Wait. Hundreds of millions. Sorry, there's 420 or so. Blazing through. Honestly, an incredible display of coordination on both sides. One of my favorite of these matches I've seen. And quite a great, I won't call it a comeback, but certainly there was some doubt. But at the end, they came through. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out some of those matches coming up, or Sunday nights with Sunday mornings with All Reason No Lie. Sunday mornings North American time. More afternoon for Europe. Like, I'm sure they're announcements. But hopefully it made your day a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. And otherwise, make sure to check out this video. Jimmy picked it out just for you. And thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay unreasonable.